Welcome to the Essentials video for 1BizApp. In this video we're going to look at things that you need to know before you get started. We're going to look at the relationship between customers, projects, tasks and documents. We're going to learn how to understand the front screen and see what lists are and how they're used in 1BizApp. We're going to look at how to view, filter and edit columns. We're going to look at the menu color coding. What does the map icon do? And what are all the top icons for? Then we'll have a look at email and chat. We're going to have a look at templates and their use. And then finally we're going to look at mail merge. This video will point you in the right direction when getting started. Customers and companies are the people that you do business with. Jobs are the projects that you do for your customers, and each job or project can have one or many tasks. Tasks are defined as having a time associated with them, so meetings, days off, phone calls, etc. are all tasks. Doing work on the job is also a task. See the Timed Task video for more on this. Documents are everything, photos, videos, emails, documents, PDFs, that can be attached to a job, task or contact. Tasks belong to one or many people, and also belong to projects, so you can see there's a complex interdependency between all these items in 1BizApp. When you start 1BizApp for the first time, you need to know a bit about how everything fits together. First, and most important for your company, are its customers. They are the starting point. You now do some work for them called a job or a project. The job has at least one task attached to it. A task is anything that takes you time. So a task can be a meeting, a phone call, a visit, etc. You'll probably have many tasks for each job. You may have several jobs for a single customer. A job is usually something that can be invoiced. Each job will have a number of attachments. This could be a document, a quote, pictures, emails, etc. At the beginning of a job, you may create a quote. At the end, an invoice. The whole process is handled inside 1BizApp: customers, jobs, tasks and attachments. You can now see how this links to the model we described earlier and the relationships between all the elements within 1BizApp. More than one user is often involved in a job, and they will all need access to the information. In 1BizApp, not only the owner has access to the job, but many users can use the same information. So you only ever have to enter information once. Everything is kept together in one safe central location. When we log into 1BizApp, we see this screen. It has a summary of tasks, jobs and sales at the top, with my active tasks, jobs and contacts along with the latest news. On the left is the main menu. This menu is color-coded to match the screens displayed. The essential items here are companies, contacts, tasks, jobs and documents. First, we're going to look at the contacts list. Have a look at the contact import video to see how to quickly import contacts. Click on Companies and Contacts. You will see its submenu above on the left. Lists are very important in 1BizApp. Let's have a look at the contact list. There's a filter called Default View, which loads automatically when you call up the list. The view has one row per contact and a number of columns. These rows can be sorted by clicking on the column header. They can also be filtered by clicking on the funnel in each column. You can select which values you want to see the rows for. Similarly, you can make columns wider or narrower. You can reorder them by clicking on the headings and dragging it to a different position, and select which columns you want to show or hide by clicking Choose Columns. All these filters are temporary. That's to say that if you sort, rearrange, etc., the changes will disappear the next time you come to this list, reverting to the initial view. To preserve these changes, a permanent filter must be created using the filter editor. Notice how when the default view filter is run, the changes we made to the list reverts back to how it used to be. You can resize the column widths and select which columns you want to display, but remember, if you don't save them as a current filter, then they will only be temporary. Once saved, this view will appear every time the filters run. We will use this saved filter later in the video when we look at mail shots. In this section of the Essentials video, we're going to look at our customers. In your contacts list, you have companies that might be a single person, or a company might have a structure with several employees. First, let's look at our companies by applying a temporary filter. Now, let's look at the Car Parks R Us company structure. You can see that next to the company org chart there's a blue plus sign. This means that the company has a structure. Click on the plus sign to reveal the company and its employees. The company itself has a building icon next to it. The green circle means that it's active. Opening the company up, you can see that there are also 2 employees that belong in that structure. Opening one of the employees shows that this is a contact that belongs to the company. Because this is an individual, her job title is relevant and she could have an individual email address and phone number. The other employee is just the same. The important thing to remember is that the employees belong to the parent company. We will see this in a moment when we're creating companies with employees. When a company has just 1 employee, then there's no need for a structure. If you have 2 or more contacts in a company, you have to create a structure. Let's look at Harris & Sons now. This is currently a company with just 1 employee. There is no blue plus sign by the company org chart icon, and this record doesn't belong to anything. We will now change this to add a second employee. First, we have to split the contact from his company. To do this, we're going to have to duplicate this entry. Click on the duplicate button as shown. We now have 2 versions of the record. We have to change the new version to become a contact belonging to the parent company. Put them side by side so we can see both at the same time. The copy on the right is the record we'll change into the contact. The original on the left will remain the company. First, change the entity type from a company to a contact. Next, we have to link the contact to the company. This is done in the Belongs To drop-down. Take care to link the contact with the correct company on the left. Everything else on the contact remains the same. Now we have to edit the company on the left. We can remove the contact details on the company now, as the contact has his own record. And finally we save the 2 records, company and employee. You can see that the company org chart now has a blue plus sign, meaning the company has a structure. i.e., it has a company and 1 employee. Now we're going to take our new employee and duplicate him. As before, take the record and click duplicate. This time we're duplicating the customer, not the company. The new customer is a second employee in our company Harris & Sons, so we enter her name and change her email address. That's all that needs changing. Because we entered Mrs. in the title, the system changes her gender automatically from male to female. Save this record. Now Harris & Sons has 2 employees. It was important that we kept the original company as the company, because all the jobs that may have already been created under that company remain there. If we turn the original company into an employee, the company's jobs would now be in the wrong place. When we duplicated the company earlier, the name to display was changed with copy appended. This is no longer needed and can be deleted. Now our org chart looks like this, with 2 employees attached to the parent company, and that's how we create a company structure in 1BizApp. Structures can be more complicated with departments, etc., and this is explained in other videos. Now we have our customer's company set up, a few words on creating jobs and tasks. As a rule, jobs are created inside a company, not an individual. The employee is attached to the job, but the company is the owner of it. Returning to the top-level company, we can see that the job created under the company contact is now attached just to the company. We can now create new jobs under the company and attach an employee to the job. Similarly, tasks should always be created whilst in a job. So here we're looking at a job belonging to a customer's company. We can now look at the tasks belonging to that customer's job. Now we can create new tasks attached to a job, attached to the customer. If you keep to this structure, then you'll easily be able to find your customers, their jobs and the tasks belonging to those jobs. Now we're going to quickly look at the map function in 1BizApp. Any customer or company can be located so long as they have a postcode entered. Let's have a look at Shirley Brahms. Her contact details have a postcode. Click on the map icon next to her postcode and her latitude-longitude coordinates are calculated. Now clicking on the map next to these coordinates brings up the map of her location. In this fictitious example, we've used the postcode of Bournemouth railway station. Using the map function in 1BizApp, you can zoom in and out just as you can on Google Maps. Another use for maps is to see where your customers or appointments are. Let's have a look at our appointments by going into Tasks and then selecting the Appointments filter. We can see that All Locations icon is available, so click on it in the map. The map appears with all 9 locations. You can now zoom into appointments that interest you. From here, using the icons at the top of the map, you can get directions from one appointment to the next, or even get a traffic update. Clicking on a number on the map will bring up the task details. From this map, clicking on the icon at the top of the screen will zoom in on the selected task. Now, clicking on Current Position superimposes where your staff are now. Clicking on Clear Locations removes the tasks. These are the positions that staff are logged in. If they are on the road, they can be tracked. If the map isn't open, then the icon at the top of the screen will immediately show you your company's staff locations. This is used for tracking staff out of office and on site. The icons across the top of the screen give us some shortcuts to frequently used functions. We've looked at the map, now let's look at tasks. The calendar icon brings up immediately a screen covering all of your tasks for today. You can scroll backwards and forwards and view in daily, weekly or monthly mode. Use the calendar on the left to move to a date and use the day, week and month buttons to see different views. Hovering over a task will bring up the task summary. Clicking on the task will open it. The next icon is the timed task icon. Have a look at the task time management video to see how to create these tasks. This button lets you see all the timed tasks you have active. Here, you can pause a running task or start a paused task. If you do this, you'll be prompted that you can only run one task at a time and have to pause the current active task. Clicking on a task will open it. From within this drop-down, you can also pause, stop or complete tasks. The final quick icon is used for retrieving data from the archive. Click on the filing cabinet and it will open a search window. From here, you can search for contacts, projects, tasks and documents that have been archived. Search will also show you records that haven't been archived yet. If the results are on the local server, you will see a double arrow. If the results to your search have been archived and they only exist on the 1BizApp cloud servers, you'll see a single arrow, and then they can be downloaded or viewed using the buttons at the bottom of the screen. Chat and email are communication modules in 1BizApp. You can chat to anyone set up as a user in your company. Open the chat screen and in the Chat To area start typing their name. Once selected, type in your message at the bottom and press Send. You can chat to more than one person at a time by selecting other users in the chat area. Each different combination of users will open up a separate thread. Now we're going to have a brief look at templates. Templates are documents that we will want to use on more than one occasion. Typically, an invoice will be a template because each time we create an invoice it'll have the same format. What changes in the invoice or quote, etc. is the details. Standard templates are supplied with 1BizApp to help you get started. The invoice is standard, but can be edited by you to conform to your corporate image. The email body should be inserted and edited to suit your needs. Save the changes, and when you use the template as an invoice, it will always look like this. You can edit the other templates in the system or create your own. The other type of template used here is a mail shot. This is a document that you're going to send to many people. All that changes are fields that you can insert in the email. Here, if there is a title, Mr. and Mrs. etc. and a surname, it will be displayed on the email as, for example, Dear Mr. Jones. We can do lots of personalising in the email template to make it more user-friendly. At the bottom of the template is an unsubscribe field. This will take the recipient to a page where they can choose their subscriptions. Now let's use this template to create a mail shot using mail merge. Mail merge is just a way of using templates to create documents by doing a repetitive action on a set of records. In this case, we're going to send a mail shot to a number of people using the newsletter template. So first, we must select our records. In this case, we'll use the filter we created earlier. Now, we have to select which records to use. In this case, we select all, as shown. Mail merge can be done anywhere that the mail merge button is found. Click on Mail Merge, then select our newsletter template. Select a separate document for each item so that the email is created for each customer. And as there are many emails to be sent, click on Send Email. Now, click on Create Documents from Template and the emails will be sent. Have a look at the email and mail shot videos for more details. We hope you found this Essentials videos useful and interesting. There are many more videos for you to go through on the 1BizApp website.